We came around the corner and boom, floodlights turned on, blinding us. There was a car blocking the road and 5 or 10 guys jumped out of the back of the truck pointing machine guns at us. Holy
Who took the bomb?
Yeah, dude, you're so focused.
Okay, I don't want to hold this. I've been going to Baja since I was a couple months old. I was born in SoCal when my dad was in medical school. My parents were students, they didn't have any money, so for break they'd get all their friends, 4 or 5 carloads of people, and they'd road trip down Baja surfing. And little baby me would tag along for the ride. Fast forward 20 years later, now I'm in medical school, and it's my time with my friends. This was the very first trip across the border with my brand new wife. After super hard midterms, we had a long weekend and we were gonna meet our buddies in Baja to surf. Right after the test, we load up, we zip down to the border, but we hit traffic and we don't get to the border crossing till about sunset. In the last 20 years, Baja has increasingly become sketchy. Generally speaking, the cartels don't want to mess with you. They don't want to draw scrutiny onto what they're doing. They want to leave surfers alone. But over the last 20 years, there's some stories of people getting carjacked, hijacked, and even murdered. Generally speaking, we try not to drive after dark. We want to be way away from border towns, down in rural Baja. No one's gonna mess with you. So we had this discussion. Do we turn around and scrub the mission, or do we go and risk it? Our friends were already down there. Oh, we were so excited for this. We decided to risk it and go. We punch through the border towns, drive 4 or 5 hours, and get to the last 30-minute section where you leave Highway 1 and you drive off-road to get to a little place called Cuatro Casas where we're meeting our friends. We were so happy. We made it off the highway. We're into more rural Baja. It had rained recently and part of the roads were washed out. So we were really slowly making our way, and way off in the distance, we see some headlights. Don't think anything of it. Keep going. As we're driving, the road increasingly gets tighter and it sort of hits a choke point. Up the hill, it's a steep rocky hill, you really can't leave the road. Down the hill, it's this drop off. So you're stuck on the road. And it's a blind corner as we crawl up this ravine. We pop up around this ravine, boom, there was a car blocking the road. Floodlights turned on, blinding us, and 5 or 10 guys jump out of the back of this truck with machine guns pointed at us. Holy all these guys jump out of the truck. These guys all have flashlights on their rifles, pointing their guns at us, yelling at us, telling us to get out of the truck, and they surround us. Terrifying. We had fallen into a human trap. This was a trap set for humans. I felt like an animal. We couldn't reverse. We just came up this super steep thing. You couldn't drive off the road left or right. You were absolutely stuck, and all these guys had machine guns. There was 5 of us, 2 girls, 3 guys, my wife, my brand new wife. I thought we were about to get kidnapped or murdered in the middle of the Baja desert. It was terrifying. So these guys are yelling at us to get out of the car. I can get by in Spanish. Luckily, my friend was totally fluent, so he immediately starts trying to calm the situation down, feel out what's happening. We all get out of the car, and I realize that it's a Humvee. Thank goodness, it's a Humvee. These are probably the federales and not the cartel. So, if anyone has traveled in Baja, you know there's all these drug checkpoints along the highway. No big deal, a bunch of federales checking to make sure people aren't running drugs, but that's on the highway in the middle of the day. We are in the middle of nowhere on a single track dirt road, and this was a trap. So, I think this is the federales. I don't think it's cartel dressed up as federales, trying to feel out what was going on. When I sort of get the feeling that these guys aren't cartel, huge weights lifted from my shoulders. But then a slower, more insidious fear starts creeping up. It's very clear we're not drug runners, we're tourists. We're surfers, we have a whole bunch of surfboards in back and camping gear, but they don't just let us go. They pull us out of the car and they start talking to us. And we're there for 10 or 15 minutes. My buddy is talking up a storm in Spanish and trying to let them know that we're just going to Cuatro Casas. We have friends 20 minutes away who know that we are almost there, and if we don't show up, something went wrong. So we're talking to these guys, letting them know we have people waiting for us. They're not just checking us out, realizing we're not drug runners and letting us go. They're trying to decide what to do with us. Are they gonna extort us? Are they gonna bribe us? Are they gonna murder us, take our truck? We are in the middle of nowhere and there's no one to keep them accountable but themselves. They could do whatever they want. So finally, thank goodness, after 10, 15 minutes of talking, they slowly sort of like decide they're gonna let us go. They let us get back in the truck. My heart's still racing. I had the fear that we were gonna get killed and they were gonna the girls. And they let us go. I'm trying to keep together, I'm the leader. So trying to keep it calm, cool, and collected, and we're driving away. We're all a little shook up, and after driving a couple minutes, I see headlights turn on behind us, facing us. And my heart sunk again. Oh my gosh, they're coming back, they changed their mind. So my buddy and I look at each other and we're like, we gotta go. So we turn off the headlights, just using the daylights on the truck, and we start going as fast as we can, roaring along this little road, just boom, 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 hitting washouts. And then we hit a place where the whole road is gone. It's been washed away entirely. My buddy jumps out and he's wading through brush, trying to find a place where we can pass. We off-road aggressively, scratch up the truck, just plowing through bushes, and get back on the main road and just roar into Cuatro Casas. And it's sort of like a safe haven. There's expats who live there permanently, and we keep watching, no one comes. And we felt just this huge sigh of relief. So we tried to enjoy the weekend. You know, we had some fun surf. It was good to see our friends, but it was stressful. The whole time I could barely sleep. I just kept thinking what could have happened to my brand new wife. We were totally in a situation where we were powerless and they could have done anything they wanted to us, and there's nothing we could have done. We drive back, and as soon as I crossed the border into America, just this overwhelming weight was lifted from my shoulders and I felt safe. So we've been back a couple times, and I've got buddies that go down all the time, a couple times a year. But every time I've been back, I just have this anxiety and I'm just on edge. So it's a bummer. You know, it's sort of partially ruined Baja for me.